Hey, we have a treat for you today. We have April Richey, and she is from Wichita, Kansas. So we are going to talk totally with her all about Wichita. So I want you to envision yourself moving to Wichita. So welcome to Inside the World of Real Estate. How are you doing today?
I'm good. Thanks for having me.
Yes, we are so thankful that you are here. So tell us about your background, your schooling, and growing up, and how you decided to get into real estate.
Yeah, so I grew up actually in Northeast Kansas in Topeka. So I definitely have connections all over Kansas. Spent a lot of time up in the Kansas City area as well. Moved down to Wichita for college. So I went to Wichita State for college and got a degree in integrated marketing, communications, and music. And after that, I started working in the nonprofit world. So I
Oh,
was actually a development director for a number of years. So a lot of it transfers into real estate, but I
yeah.
worked for a nonprofit that worked with kids, residential group home, and also mentoring program, managed matches, donor relations, grant writing, event planning for probably about 7, 8 years. One of my favorite things was I got to put on what was called the Easter Sun Run. So it was like a race event in the community that we would have about 2,000 attendees every year. And it was always right about like the day before Easter. Super fun. And then I stayed home with my kiddos for a few years during the first few years of their lives and went back into donor development after that. So I knew I wanted to kind of own my own business at some point. So I started by kind of doing funding, managing accounts and different stuff, doing accounting just for my church, kind of part time.
Mhm.
And then I went back full time and I worked for the Girl Scouts of the Kansas Heartland and did some other stuff for some other local nonprofits around town. So what got me into real estate was we've owned rental properties for a long time.
Love that. Love
Yeah,
that. I'm a big advocate of building wealth, whether it's real estate, whether it's stocks. So I love that. So go ahead.
yeah. So my husband actually started that before we were even married. His first property he purchased was like a 3-door property. Lived in one side, and that's what we ended up
Mhm.
doing after we got married for a number of years. But we owned rental properties, and honestly, it was my husband kind of putting a like, "Hey, you should consider this," you know. And then not just my husband, but other people were like, "Have you considered real estate? Like, I think that would be something you'd be really good at." And so I guess I'm in my 7th year. So about,
Nice.
7 years ago, I decided to just take the jump and do it. And I haven't turned back at all. I love it. It's,
I love that. So what I am seeing from you, so your background in communications,
yeah,
event planning, nonprofit, and music. Now,
yeah,
nobody realizes that when you're in real estate, you throw a lot of events and a lot of parties. So you're like a perfect planner. So, and that also comes into the real estate world of what I see from you is that when somebody comes into town, you have everything planned from point A to point B, what we're going to see, who we're going to see, what restaurants we're going to go to, what schools we're going to visit, what places we're going to visit.
yeah,
So I think that that's what stands out for you is with your background. It's amazing because your background actually shows how you can be in real estate, is
yeah,
that you're great with people moving to Kansas. And
yeah.
plus, you know the whole entire state. So there
I
you go.
do. I do. And when I was with Girl Scouts of the Kansas Heartland, they cover most, like, it is a statewide organization basically. So
Yes.
I actually traveled all across the state, doing grant writing and funding. So I do know a lot of even Western Kansas, where people are like, it's only rolling hills and dairy farms. I mean, I've been there. So
And what's really nice is Girl Scouts. All right. We all love Girl Scout cookies, but we know that I was a troop mom too myself many, many years ago. And what you know is that you have to be organized, you have to be proficient, and you got to get those cookies sold, right? So, same thing as selling your houses.
you do. You do. Yeah. I love communication and just clear communication. Like, clear expectations, setting the expectation for what, whether selling your house or buying looks like. So I think those are all really important things. Yeah.
Good. So I think in just this, 4 minutes, we've learned so much about April and how she does business. So let's dig into, what areas do you service?
Yeah, so I'm Sedgwick County, which is primarily Wichita, Kansas.
Okay.
I do cover up to like an hour outside. So if you hear the names like Newton or Wellington or Augusta or Arc City, Goddard, Andover, I cover all of those areas. So pretty much Wichita and about an hour outside of that area. So that does cover residential. Downtown Wichita, we do have condos, but I will say most of Wichita still is like single family.
Got it.
And then we have like hobby farms. So I do cover like rural. I love hobby farms. Usually when we say hobby farm, it's, 2 acres up to maybe 30 acres.
I love this. Yeah, let's talk about hobby farms, because I mean, I'm sure our viewers don't know what a hobby farm is. They might not. So what exactly is a hobby farm?
So typically most of what people classify as hobby farm will be, I want to be outside the city, but I still want to be, in the country. I don't want to necessarily have my neighbors right on me, but I just want some area to spread out. So around Wichita, I'm going to tell you, you will find everything. Like we say, we have bougie country. So we've got, developments that are on the outskirts of town where they have an HOA, but they're on 2 acres, and you've got a 600 to 700, even up to $1 million, and such properties that people would still say, well, this is kind of hobby. It's out there. It's on just a little bit of acreage. But then we have hobby farms that there's no HOA, they're outside town. They've got, those 2 to 30, just depending upon acres. And that's where you get a lot of people who want to have the chickens, want to have the garden, that, you might have a 1900-year-old farmhouse that's been converted or remodeled and updated just on the outskirts. I will tell you, in Wichita, there's been a lot of development that has continued to grow the city. So you really do have to probably get out at least 30 minutes, like drive, which to many people, it's like no big deal, right?
In Atlanta, I can go 30 minutes and go 2 miles, right?
Exactly. Right. Right. So, I mean, that's one of the things actually I hear from people moving to Wichita. We're really separated a lot east-west. And people are like, I don't care if I'm on the west side. Like, it used to take me an hour, like, just to get downtown. But like, I can get to the west side of Wichita in like 25 minutes or such. And I'm like, well, until you have that sun glaring in your eyes on Kellogg, then it's going to make a difference. But I mean, really, it's like 25 minutes. So yeah, getting 30, minutes kind of outside town.
Okay. So I want to ask you something about hobby farms. So like here in Georgia, you have to have like 2 acres to have chickens or horses. Is it like that as well? Like over 2 acres, then you can have those type of animals? Or
yeah. So Wichita City, you have to have at least an acre for a horse. Once you kind of get more rural, it kind of spreads out more kind of with their municipality. But typically, yes, like if you're going to have more, like there's, so you can actually have chickens within city Wichita. The city of Wichita limits as well. There's some parameters around a rooster. So quite honestly, you'll find a lot of it within the city of Wichita too. But yeah, the parameters, you have to have at least an acre for a horse. You have to have, now if you're going to have more than one, that's where the parameters start to spread.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And it goes the same with like cattle or other things too.
Yeah, we don't have cattle here in Georgia. I mean, like in North Atlanta where I'm at. No, the only thing we have is like people want horses. Like we have a lot of, like I live in Milton area, which there's a lot of horse farms and horses, or people want chickens. I don't know why, but people want chickens for the eggs, I guess. I have no idea.
Chickens are very popular here too. Yes.
So that's the only thing. We don't have cattle and all that stuff. Yes, not in my specific area, but I love that you have such a diverse area within like an hour of Wichita. Like it's amazing, like how crazy that is. Okay. So let's talk about like an average home price.
Yeah.
I know that it can be different depending on if you're in the city or not, but just give us maybe one of the cities that you handle, and what would like a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, how much square footage, and kind of how much that would cost?
Yeah. A lot of it is location generated,
Of
right?
course.
So I would say our average price point is between like 250 to 275.
Yes.
So very affordable. And I would say that would be like a 3-bed, 2-bath, probably,
Mhm.
not necessary. We have lots of basements around Wichita. We're also in
Okay.
Tornado Alley. So that would probably be around the price point range.
That's perfect.
Around
We
Wichita.
just so our viewers, I mean, I talk to people in New York, I talk to people in Hawaii, Alaska, and it's interesting, like what's the average price point? And theirs is like 2-3 million, and ours is, whatever, yours is 200, right? Like
100.
such a difference, but yet it's just places that people, and my next question is, why are people moving to Wichita? Like, why?
Yeah, so a lot of people joke about that because they're like, Wichita, like it's in the center of the United States. Like, what's there,
Correct.
right? So we're actually a city, our Wichita metro area of around 600,000. So we're not like, we're not extremely rural. Like lots of people do think of dairy farms and chickens and
Sure.
farms. Most of our industry that comes would be aerospace engineering. We
Okay.
have Boeing, Textron, Airbus, Beechcraft. Like we've got all the aircraft industries. We also have an Air Force Base, McConnell Air Force Base, which also has a cybersecurity unit. So we have a lot of people coming just for Air Force, but also for jobs associated with the Air Force Base. We also have a biomedical facility
Mhm.
community. So we have medical, part of the KU med school, but we also have just a lot of schooling here. We actually have a few colleges. We've got Friends, Newman, Wichita State. So a lot of people that are coming for education as well. Like one of our largest district here is USD 259, and they're one of our largest employers in the city. So all
Wow.
of those things, when I work with clients from out of state as well, and they're coming in, lots of times it's like a family connection or grew up here and other things like that too. So
Sure, of
yeah,
course. All right, so let's talk about if somebody moves to Wichita and they're moving from, say, California or Texas or New York, what
yes.
are their challenges when they move here, and how do you help them navigate those challenges?
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned those states as well, because I would say within the last few years, and I love working with people moving from out of state.
Yes.
I just love it because I'm a connector. We kind of have chatted about this, Mariel and
Mhm.
I have, and I am really connected in our community. Obviously, with my background in nonprofit, like I just know a lot of things. So when people, ask like, well, I have a child who has maybe these special needs, or when, education wise, I mean, I have kids in the school districts. I know a lot about it. Now, of course, I'm always going to tell you, like, get online, research this, and do all that. But just having like an advocate kind of to say, hey, call this number. This is who you want to reach to, I think is so helpful. So, okay, I know I kind of went on a tangent there. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. No, it's like, how do you navigate? Like people come, like you said, people are coming from all across
Yeah,
the country or the world to Wichita, Kansas,
yeah,
which sometimes you're like, wow, but really the industries that you have there drive some really intelligent people, right? And they're coming from, say, a major, they get a job and they're coming from California or they're coming from Texas, which is a totally different world where you're at. And how do you help them navigate
yeah.
the difference? I mean, it's really different culture if you think about it, even though we're still in the United States.
Yeah. So it's funny because you did mention like Texas and California and stuff, and those are the clients I've worked with. Like
Nice.
Colorado, Texas, California, like those are the areas where I've seen most of the people kind of coming from to
Hmm.
Wichita. And, it's funny, a lot of them still have the same questions, and the same needs like that I would have just being in a
Right.
new place. And so honestly, all of the clients that have come, they have loved it. Oh, I think my alarm's going off. Sorry, it's like
Somebody's alarm is going
in
off.
the
There we go.
background. Okay, I'm gonna have to go turn it off because it will stay going, I think. I'll be right
Okay.
back.
All
Yeah,
right.
it's
So
like being at a showing, right? And then the
that's
bar,
right. You got a showing and all kinds of crazy things happen.
the
So,
batteries.
All
Yeah.
right. So you're saying you had some clients from California, Colorado, and Texas, and they
Yeah.
moved here. And
Yeah.
how did they acclimate, or how did you help them acclimate into Wichita's
Yeah. One,
world?
just starting the conversation early in the
Mhm.
process, like answering some of the questions up front, asking what are some of the needs that you have? Like, what are some of the resources too that would be comfortable and available? So, one, just being a resource from the very beginning, I think has helped all of my clients. And then two, after they're here, just following up. I do events in my business too. I mean,
We
shocker,
all do events in real estate. Every day
right?
is an event,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. But I love doing that just to stay in contact. I follow up with my clients too. I had one who just recently moved here. They moved into the Mays School District, and I connected with them first week of school and just was like, "How are the boys doing? How is the new connections? Are they meeting friends at school?" And just asking those questions. We go out to coffee and just stay connected. But usually, like, just the resources, asking them really good questions while they're making that move. Like, what are the things that you enjoy where you currently are at? Like, and how can we kind of match that here in Wichita? Like, are they close to grocery stores, amenities? Like, what are the things? And if possible, like, I'll ask them to send me some pictures of their house, or
Yeah.
like what they are currently living in. Because, it helps, I think, make that transition, and also know, like, is it important? What are the things that are important to you and how you live? And I will say, most all my clients, I would say all of them. There's been one that was like, I don't know. They lived overseas, so they were like, I don't know. We're really missing home. We might plan to move back,
Mhm.
and then they're still here. It's been 3 years,
Yes.
so
Yeah.
But
So I love it when people ask, like, okay, like, where's the closest Costco? Where's the closest Home Depot, Lowe's?
yeah,
What kind of grocery stores? Do you have Trader Joe's? Do you have, Whole Foods? What are the grocery stores? Which is so interesting, but really people are driven. I can't tell you how many people are moving from another state and call up and go, I have to be within 5 miles of Lowe's or Home Depot, or Costco has to be within a 10-minute drive or whatever.
yeah,
Like, okay, but it's
yep,
so interesting what drives people. So I
yep,
think asking a lot of questions like you do, and then really putting a plan together will help them with any kind of challenge that they have.
yeah,
Okay. So I know we talked a lot about what's going on in the city, all the different industries.
mhm.
So those are the industries that are driving the economy. Tell us a little bit about your downtown and where's the closest airport, restaurants, kind of culture of your area.
Yeah. So our downtown is literally like in the middle of Wichita. So it is
Okay.
the downtown area. They've done a lot of revitalization in that area. We
Mhm.
have a baseball stadium. It is not a national baseball. It's like one of the smaller. It's called the Wingnuts.
Nice.
But the stadium's right there. We have a river that actually runs like right through. It's called the uh, so it's kind of a joke, but Arkansas is Arkansas. Ours is the Arkansas River, but it's spelled the same exact way. So
Oh,
so
that's
there's
so
some
funny. Oh my
but
gosh, that's funny.
Wichita was we're a very diverse area. And a lot
Okay.
of people are kind of surprised by that. But we had a lot of settlers that just began to build up around the river. And then it kind of spread across Wichita. Some of the more historic areas you might hear, like Delano, that was the west side of the river. So it's what kind of started the whole west side and east side. College Hill is an area in Wichita that is lovely and has amazing homes. It's one of the most historic areas in Wichita, and it's as you're going to the east. So a lot of the founders that really built Wichita were around the aerospace industry, and also around, like, there was a big Lebanese community. We have amazing food in Wichita. It's
No,
actually
you would never think though, right? You would
no,
never think, but it's
yeah,
amazing. Just
yeah,
it's not a little city, it's 600,000 people. And I think that people don't realize that it actually is a pretty good sized city,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
People just think of like dairy farms, but it's not. There's just so
No.
much more to offer in your area.
We're kind of
So,
an incubator for food as well. So like if you are a foodie, like it is one of my favorite. So two of my favorite places, like I always tell people when they visit is Medi's. It's like a Lebanese restaurant.
oh,
Not
nice.
super formal. Like you can just pop in, you can do curbside pickup, anything. But their hummus is amazing. And then really close by, there's a place it's called George's Bistro. And I think they're nominated for a James Beard. So it's where
I
we go
love
for
it.
almost
Do you have
every
any Michelin
anniversary.
star restaurants? You have
Um,
Michelin star?
honestly, I don't know.
I'm
Probably,
sure
I don't
you
know.
do, but James Beard is a good award there because I am a foodie around the world. I
Right?
love to travel around the world, and I just love my husband. Is really, we love Michelin star restaurants and just going like to just unique type of restaurants. So I love that you do have that there too as well.
Well,
All
if
right,
you're ever here, I will name one other place. And so
okay,
my neighbor actually is the co-owner chef with his brother at a restaurant called Fiorito.
okay.
And it is amazing, like pasta handmade. It's just a hole in the
Oh,
wall, like small.
I'm so hungry right
I
now.
know, right? Like I'm getting hungry too. But those are like the three.
Okay, good. So if you want good restaurants, you got to talk to April. She's going to tell
Talk
you
to
all
me.
about the
Talk
restaurants.
to me.
All right, so let's talk about weather,
Oh
the
yeah.
seasons. What kind of weather do you expect in certain months? So let's go there.
Well, we do experience all four seasons. So
Nice.
you will get snow, most likely. You will get heat. And during the heat of the summer, it's like nasty. It's like, I mean,
What's nasty? Okay, 90 degrees, 100 degrees, 80 degrees.
actually like 100, it's not, honestly, it's not horrible. You will experience spring, and fall. Sometimes the spring season can be pretty quick. Same with fall, but like today it's in the 70s. Normally it would be around the 80s right now. The joke we have around Wichita, though, is that you could experience all four seasons in one day.
Yeah.
Like you definitely like can wake up and it's like frigid, and then you get rain, and then you get snow, and then the sun will be out, and it'll be like super nice. So honestly, you're going to be like experiencing everything in Wichita, and you will have a wardrobe that has things for all seasons.
Yes, and that's so interesting. All right, so what is the thing? It's all about tornadoes, right? People think of Kansas and they think of, oh my God, I'm going to get swept up in a tornado.
Yeah.
So is that a fear that people have? And kind of explain to us, does that happen as often as people think it does?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. We have amazing storms. Like I will say, I mean, I love to travel and see the sunsets everywhere. But I will say a heartland like rainstorm, thunderstorm is pretty amazing. Like you can see the clouds rolling in from across the plains, and it's just some of my favorite views of the sky. So the thunderstorms are very real, here in the Midwest. Tornadoes, yes, I do hear that a lot, especially from people moving out of state who don't really have a lot of experience, like in the heartland area, the United States. They're like, we hear about the tornadoes, and they are real. They're very real. If you grew up in the Midwest, you know, there's kind of a joke that it's like you hear a tornado warning, you grab your chair and you go sit on the front porch and you look.
That's right.
So we have Wichita has been hit by tornadoes. Like we have had the Andover area on the outskirts of town, usually kind of coming up from the south, like every 30 years, maybe
Yeah.
there'll be
Well, it's
something,
just like hurricanes. And you know
but
what? We get tornadoes here in Georgia. We get hailstorms. We get all kinds of
you get it.
storms. So
Yeah.
it happens everywhere. I just think that people think that it's, your area. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
do have some people that are like, I need a basement. I need a basement because of those tornadoes.
Right.
And absolutely, if that's what makes you feel comfortable and different stuff, like we will put that on the list. But I will say there's a lot of homes now, like especially new development where they're kind of patio home or like slab homes, great homes with good square footage. And lots of times, like some builders, depending upon who it is, they'll put a storm shelter in the garage.
Yeah.
My mom's in a patio home not far from us. The master bedroom closet, like the primary bedroom,
Hmm.
they make the closet actually concrete, and so it's actually like a storm shelter. So there's a lot of things, just like as you know about the area and what you can find and what might be common in construction, that I think sometimes puts some people at ease as
Yes,
well.
that's good. That's good. There's storms everywhere in the world. It doesn't matter
Everywhere.
where you are, right? There's always something going on.
Yeah.
Um, so talking about like culture, is there museums or, I mean, we talked a lot about culture, food, and we talked about you've got some sports going on there with the baseball team. Anything else that you wanted to add, like for Wichita?
Yeah, we do have quite a bit of the art scene. So Music Theater of Wichita, like we've got great shows. We've got an arena. So there's always stuff around. One of my favorite things, though, culture-wise, we're kind of heading into the fall season, and because there's so many small communities around Wichita, like you get fall festivals everywhere. So like
Yes,
if you really like to just, go antiquing or explore or like see the small
right.
like town parades, like oh my goodness, they're everywhere. Like this past weekend it's called Old Settlers and it's in Mulvane. They do a parade, they do a rodeo. Like if you ever want to
Oh
do a
my gosh,
rodeo,
that's crazy.
it's
Yeah.
so crazy. So you'll find them everywhere. Like Goddard Fall Festival, the Kansas State Fair is up in Hutchinson. It's like a 45-minute to an hour drive, not far. So there's the fall festivals, I think, are part of that community. And then in Wichita, they do so many community events. Like they will shut down the main street and they'll do like bike ICT. And so they have
Mhm.
vendors out with kids that they're just riding their bikes up and down the street. Like just so it's a fun feel. It's a fun vibe, and people come out. They always have a week-long river festival downtown
Nice.
along the river where they bring in, performers, but then they also do like races on the river and all different sorts of stuff. So fun stuff.
Nice.
It's a fun place.
Nice. There's always something to do, right? Never boring or anything else. All
Yeah.
right. So is there traffic in Wichita? Do you have public transportation? Do people like live in the suburbs and commute to the city? Just kind of those type of things. If someone, calls you, I'm just curious about that.
Yeah, honestly, we do not have, I mean, we do have public bus systems and such, we do not have like any subways or anything of that sort.
Nope.
Quite honestly, everyone drives, you will
Right.
get bikers. We do have a biking community, and some bike lanes, but not like in big cities. So transportation, honestly, it is not that hard to get around Wichita. I mean, most of my people who are coming from California, Texas, Phoenix area and stuff, they're like, oh, this is nothing. Like
Right.
this is,
Right. And that's what people need to know too, because if you're
yeah,
coming from a bigger city that you're so used to traffic like Atlanta or whatever, we just know when we're not going out, right? We know that when we have to go to the airport, we're going to put it at a certain time, our flight at a certain time, so that we're not in that rush hour.
yeah,
Because same thing here, I don't think we have such a big city in Atlanta and we don't really have the transportation like you have in New York. Well, in New York, everybody's pretty much on the subway and trains, where here, everybody's in their cars. So that's the difference. You know what I
yeah,
mean? And that can cause a lot of traffic. So I love that it's
yeah.
just, like you said, and I love the biking. I love biking. That's
We
always fun.
have people biking, and I will say our big road is Kellogg. It's like US 54, 400.
Mhm.
And it's what really connects east to west. We have a few other like kind of bypass things, but
Mhm.
I will say if there's a wreck on Kellogg, then just know you're gonna be late,
There you go. You're going to be late. There you go.
So
Not like you have to leave an hour to go somewhere for 15 minutes, right? Like we
right.
do.
And it's kind of the joke that there's like perpetual construction always on Kellogg.
Yes.
So it's just like,
Yes.
where's it going to be? Yeah. But
Yes.
I forgot you did ask about like airports, and we do have Eisenhower, which is an international airport. And so we do have a lot of air traffic. We have a lot of private airports as well,
Mhm.
because we have so much aerospace, and obviously we have the Air Force Base too. So
Right.
we have a lot of traffic. And that is one of the things that I tell all of my clients. Like in the city or outside moving from out of state, it's like you are going to get air traffic noise at some point, trains, we do also have trains, and they usually kind of go in through the middle of Wichita. So some of the smaller communities around us, like Valley Center, they have like a train rail system that goes through them. So I just try to make sure that my clients know, like, hey, this location, you're going to get some train noise. Like, that's where we're at. Like, but no matter where you're at in Wichita, you're probably going to get some sort of air noise, especially if there's an air show going on. Then it's
That's
really
well, that sounds like fun. Air shows sounds like fun. All
fun.
right, so let's ask, what do you like to personally do outside of real estate? What are some of your things you like to do?
Yeah, so I love to travel. I've always loved to travel, and especially with my family. So I have two kiddos, a 15-year-old, a 13-year-old, and my husband. And so we just like to explore. We had a goal to get the kids to all 50 states before they graduated high school. So we're
Wow.
almost there. We do need to make it to Hawaii and to the Northeast area with them. So we just like to travel, like road trips. This past summer was the first time we took our entire family to England, and we were crazy, but we rented a car and we did, we drove around Europe. So we went to like, Germany, Netherlands, Belgium. we just road tripped it in Europe. But those are kind of the things like,
What was your favorite when you road tripped? Okay, so
yeah.
my husband's Belgium. So,
Oh,
and we're
really?
actually going to Belgium next week, which I
Oh,
love
sweet.
Belgium. It's so beautiful. So I wanted to know what, like, out of the places you drove to when you went to England, and you said Belgium and
Yeah.
Germany and the Netherlands,
Yeah.
what was your favorite, or what was one of your favorites?
Yeah. So, one of the things we did was in the Rhine Valley. So we were in Germany.
Yes.
We kind of floated up the Rhine Valley. And on our way in, we stopped by the Cologne Cathedral, which
Yes.
that was pretty amazing to me.
Yes.
We were there right when the bells started going off, and just
Oh, cool.
the sounds of the bells. And of course, my family made me like walk up the 830 some steps into the bell tower. And it was amazing. I mean, I will say,
Well, it's something you don't forget. So I'm all about experiences
yeah,
too. So I love that you do all this experiences with
yeah.
your kids. And how many more states? You said you have some in the Northeast. How many more do you
So
still have to
yeah,
do?
so with them, we need to do Hawaii, and then we need to do like Maine, the top corner, Maine, Vermont,
New
Connecticut,
Hampshire.
New Hampshire. Yeah, we haven't taken them to New York yet, so it's really just that area. And we've been kind of figuring out like now that they're older, there's so many other trips and different things, and we're like, okay,
Right.
how are we going to fit these in? But yeah,
Well, the best time to go to the Northeast in Maine and New Hampshire is right in the fall, because the
yeah,
fall colors are absolutely gorgeous.
yep,
And New York's that's an easy flight to go anytime, go see a show, go during Christmas time. Christmas time is amazing. Go like in the beginning of December. It's not
yeah.
as crowded, like, so that you can see Rockefeller Center and show them all of that fun stuff, because there's
Yeah.
nothing like being in New York during Christmas time, because I'm from New York, so I'm going to
Are
tell
you?
you. I'm going to
That's
tell you like
great.
it is, girl.
I love that. I'm like, it's already like starting to form in here.
Yeah, the fall is great to go to the New England states, just
Mhm.
because the leaves are incredible. Time like September, October is just a beautiful time to go, and the summertime is really, really nice to go as well. So
Sweet.
those are
Okay.
some of my favorites. Okay.
Love it.
So, my next question was about travel. So I know you talked a little bit about travel, what you really love to do with your family, but do you have anything on your bucket list, or somewhere you've been that you'd like to tell our viewers that you just really loved?
Yeah. And depending upon who you ask in our family, I think they all have bucket list items. So my son and I got to travel to Japan. We spent a few weeks in Okinawa and then Kyoto, and
I love Kyoto.
it
It's
was,
my
oh, I
favorite.
love it too. So I would love to go back that area. My daughter, who's really into anime, really wants to go back. So that one might be on our in the future list again. And just exploring that area, especially around Kyoto, like you
Oh,
were mentioning.
pretty.
Yeah, and it was such an amazing time. It was a place I had never desired to visit, but I fell in love with. I would love to take my kids to Turkey, Istanbul area.
Mhm. Yes.
I got to like live there for a summer one time, many, many moons ago, and just I would love to kind of retrace those steps with, yeah, the family. Um, Yeah. I mean, those are kind of some of the other ones.
Now, what time of year did you go to Japan? Because I've been to Japan during the cherry blossoms, which is incredible. It
Yeah.
was like so incredible. And then I've been there in the wintertime and the summertime. Summertime, it's really, really hot. And the wintertime was like perfect. So I would assume that the fall is really nice too in Japan. But
Yeah.
just everything about Japan is just incredible. How clean it is, how nice the people are, and
Yeah.
how good the food is
So
just over the top. And of course, the sightseeing is over the top too as well.
amazing. It was amazing. Yeah. We went in October. I think
Yes.
we had just finished kind of cherry blossom, and it was rainy. I will say on Okinawa, on the island, which was amazing in and of itself, just that area. It's very different than mainland, like going into
Yes.
Kyoto.
Yes.
But it was humid and hot, and I thought I was dying. So like even in October, I was like all of the pictures. If you look at me from that time frame, like
That's okay. Been
yeah,
to like Thailand when it's I mean, they don't know what heat is until you go to
right,
like Thailand and you're like, it's so hot. Or you go to like, there's so many places I've been where it's just over
right.
the top hot and you're just like, ooh,
And
it's
the
hot.
humidity in your yeah. My
Yes.
husband was like, "Yeah, your pictures, you were like there wasn't really a good day." I was like, "No, there wasn't.
No,
It
there
was
was
just
not.
all
It's
coming
like
down."
hair in a
Yeah,
ponytail, dripping. Yeah, it's
humidity
all
just
good.
dripping. Yeah, but Kyoto, like by the time we got into Kyoto area, it was like 10 degrees cooler, and it was like this is amazing. And yeah, I
Yeah.
mean just the markets and like the food, like yeah,
The culture. I love it because you're like well traveled like I am, and I just love going different cultures. That's why I really want to learn about all my referral partners around the country and around the world because everyone has like something to give in their city. Like I've learned so much today about Wichita, Kansas, and I can envision myself coming to visit and coming to see things. And I think that that's what we want to show our viewers that there's so many great places in the world to go to. Why not? Like let's venture out and see the world, and support local while you're there too as well. All right, so I have one more question for you, and I know that we always have so many rewarding real estate transactions. It could have been one from last month, it could have been from 10 years ago, whatever. Tell our viewers about a transaction that you had that was very rewarding.
whew, that is tricky.
It
Yeah,
is
because
because we
my
all have
husband
so many, right?
yeah, well, yeah, and when you start thinking through all of them, it's just everyone is so unique, and you're constantly learning, and I think that's one of the things that I love about real estate too. Like you kind of follow a same pattern, right?
Yes.
But there's every single transaction. I should also mention, I've been mentioning my husband some. He is actually a licensed agent too.
Nice.
He is an engineer and he has a full time engineering job. He got licensed about a year and a half ago, basically for support in business. So he's like, I'm just going to do it because I want to be a showing agent for you. Like, and we do, I mean, everything we do in business, we talk about together. So,
Of
um,
course.
but I will say I love working with engineers because I'm married to one.
Me
Talking,
too, girl. Join the club.
right?
High Seas Engineer CEO. That's what I'm married to. So I'm married to a DC. I'm a DI. So
Oh,
look at that. We love each other. We do what we want. We love each other, and that's it. Like
yes.
Um,
100%, like yes, and it's what makes business good, like it's and like the perspectives that each one can bring.
of
So
course.
I think the transaction, well, one, I think that was just really meaningful. Um, and I guess it was more a personal one was when my mom was making the decision. So my father passed away 7 years ago in
Mhm.
July,
Yes.
and it's just such a hard transition.
Yes.
And
Been there.
yep,
Hmm.
and it was coming to that time where it was like something needs to change, and no
Hmm.
family was still around her,
Right.
and so we just been keeping our eyes open because we were like, we want to make sure it's the right for her fit for her at the time that it needs to happen. And in the heat of the market, like 2 years ago, perfect property came up, zero entry, patio home within 5 minutes of where we live. Didn't know if she was going to go for it or not, but she just happened to be in town, and took her to see it. And my husband and I secretly on the side were like, I think we're going to get it one way or the other because we're going to need it, you know.
We're going to buy it and we're just going to rent it till she's ready, right?
We're just going to hold on to it, you know, because it doesn't come up very often, especially in the area where we live.
Right.
And so just how everything fell together, she ended up making the decision that, yep, it's time. And we're going to make sure that that happens. And ended up selling the home that they built together, you know, of 35 years or such during that summer. And made the transition to Wichita. And it's just been the perfect, like it's been.
Where did your mom live? Where did your mom live?
So she lived in Topeka.
Okay.
And pretty much, you know, left her community there and transitioned here. So here's another part of that story, I think, that makes it so sweet. The week that she moved here, you know, everything was really new, like, but officially made that move. We did some stuff at the house and everything like that before she moved in. I went over just to check on her and be like, hey, you know, want to go get coffee? And she was in bed and could not get out of bed. It ended up that we took her to the hospital and she was in ICU for like 2 weeks. She was septic. She had an infection and it was like that overnight. And she then spent like a couple of months in rehab, but she was in Wichita and we found her. And I think that's one of the reasons why it's like so heartfelt. Like it was time and we were able to be there and find her. And, you know, it was the week she literally moved here.
I love it because you know what? Every time I ask this question, it seems like everyone gives such a great emotional story that we all want to just like be like, that's emotional. Like we all know that we have parents that need a little help or, you know, we need to look out for them. And whether you're a real estate agent or not, if you're looking and you're in that area, I mean, that's the compassion we all have. So
yeah, totally. You know, and like you said, every single transaction has those pivotal moments.
Yes, of course.
You know, whether it's
some hit your heartstrings a little differently than others.
Absolutely.
But you know, that's you're also your background in investing. Like, well, if she doesn't want that house, we're just going to buy it. You know, eventually she'll need it. You know.
Yeah, we were like, eventually, I think she's going to need. And we kind of thought, you know, for her, it gives her the freedom that if she wants to come down for like a week at a time, like maybe she can kind of experience this.
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't have to be all at once, you know, sort of thing. So that's where we were at least during that process.
Well, you know, I have thoroughly enjoyed this interview with you because I just love all of your background, how you really just take care of your clients. It's just incredible. And all the background and all the knowledge and education that you have, and just really how much you are just passionate about where you live and how you help people. So is there anything else that you want to add to our interview before we, you know, go away?
Really, I mean, I think you have exceptionally covered like all of the questions that help give a really good perception of Wichita and and my business too.
And you as a person. And I think what's important is that you can choose who you do business with, right? And I surround myself around people like myself. That's why I have these interviews, because I want people to know how great these people are and how passionate and compassionate and how they help people and how they look at your best interest, that real estate is not about a paycheck. It's about a relationship, and it's about you helping someone through a life-changing event or an event that they need to take care of. So remember, most of the time when people are buying or selling, it's a life-changing event, whether it's getting married, having a baby, going through a divorce, having a death. There's always a transition, and we're here to help you. So.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So April, it's been a pleasure. Wichita, Kansas, April's your girl. You guys take care. And thanks for listening to another episode of Inside the World of Real Estate. Take care. Bye-bye.